Missourah. Say that with me, Missourah. Now, unlearn that because that's the complete wrong way to say Missouri. And let me tell you more about Missouri in this video. Let's go! What's going on, guys? Jesse Weiser, real estate broker here in Springfield, Missouri, and I'm excited that you're here because today we're talking all about Missouri. Also, if you're thinking about moving to Missouri, go to wiserlivingrealty.com to check out all of the houses that are listed around the area. If you're coming to Springfield, we would love to work with you, of course. That's why we make these videos. Also, side note, it's not pronounced Missourah. I just want to make sure that you got that correct. It's called Missouri. Missouri, okay? I never understood why people say Missouri. I think it's a lovely place to live. So first things first, we are known as the cave state. We have tons of caves, fantastic caverns, we have Marvel Cave, we have many homes in caves. How crazy is that? Could you imagine having a home inside of a cave and a bat just flying everywhere? Like, hey, you're brushing your teeth, bat flies, and you're like, I guess you would be called Batman. Moving on, we have a ton of limestone. Now, if you actually took and cut the side of a hill out, you would have about 10 inches of topsoil and about 50 yards of limestone before you get down to whatever's down there. But it is crazy how much limestone we have. Limestone makes your water really hard, and if you go to Florida, the water is like really soft. For some reason, as you get closer to the beaches, it gets softer. And for some reason, I prefer more of the hard water. I like that bite, if you know what I mean. The one thing that I hate about the limestone and all the rocks here is putting in a real estate sign. I actually have a video on my TikTok that I was trying to put a real estate sign in the yard and I could not. I kept hitting rocks and it just ticks me off every time. I'm actually jealous that these other realtors, they like trip and fall and their sign just perfectly goes into the ground. Not here. We gotta bang it into the ground. It's ridiculous. We actually have a lot of lakes in Missouri. It's crazy how many lakes. Table Rock Lake is close to us. Truman Lake, Lake of the Ozarks. They made a Netflix show about Lake of the Ozarks. What's that Netflix show called?
Ozark.
It's called Ozark, yeah. That was filmed in Georgia, so don't get your facts right. It's not actually in Lake of the Ozarks, but we do have a lot of lakes around here. Anywhere you go, you can be within 30 minutes of a lake. It's kind of cool. So the biggest lake we have around here is Truman, with 55,000 acres of surface area. How cool is that? Now, speaking of lakes, let's talk about rivers. We love the outdoors around here, but especially water. So we have tons of rivers. The biggest rivers is Missouri and Mississippi, but we have the James River here in Springfield, Missouri. We have Little Sac River. We have a lot of rivers. Like, we have tons of it, and a lot of people like to go fishing in those rivers. I mean, there's just so many activities based around rivers. I went kayaking once. Never went back. Speaking of lakes and water, we have a very active lake life here. So instead of like ocean life, it's more of a lake life. Like, people are all about the lake, especially Table Rock and Lake of the Ozarks. Those are the two busiest and more like social scene type lakes. And for some reason, I was talking with somebody and I was looking at a pond and they were like, oh no, that's a lake. It's categorized as a lake. I'm like, bro, where we come from, that's a pond. That's how big our lakes are. Now, here in Missouri, our speed limits for some reason are about 5 to 10 miles per hour lower than what most states are. Like, as soon as you hit Oklahoma, our neighboring state, boom, speed limit's like 80. And people are, but around here, 60 or 70 is like the highest. And whenever you go to other cities, like big cities, for some reason, if you're not going at least 80, you're gonna get ran over. Around here, we're just a little bit slower. So here in Missouri, we focus on outdoor activities. And I think a lot of that comes from Bass Pro and Johnny Morris. Johnny Morris's vision is to inspire people to get outdoors. And that's why it's huge around here with the lakes, rivers, and just all the outdoor hiking is to be outdoors. And everyone around here during the wintertime gets depressed because we want to be outdoors. So for some reason, people in Missouri talk about the weather all the time. And I even catch myself. I sound like an old man every time. I literally go up to someone and I'm like, man, it is hot out here. Or, man, that breeze feels good. What do you think the weather's going to be like tomorrow? And I don't know what it is about the weather, but it is a great opening line, conversation starter, even right in the middle of a conversation when you don't know what to talk about. For some reason, the weather comes out. That's just a Missouri thing, might be the Midwestern thing, but it is definitely a Missouri thing to be like, hey, man, this weather, can you imagine? And it's just so crazy. You'll just be talking, and for some reason, have you seen the 10-day forecast? Also here in Missouri, we do get tornadoes. It's kind of like a con around here, but for some reason, a lot of people love watching tornadoes, chasing tornadoes. Like, I don't know what people's fascination is with tornadoes. I'm one of those where I'm like, I'm getting the heck down in my closet, hands, pots on my head, whatever. Well, that's my wife. I'm usually up and about walking around, but tornadoes don't really faze us too much because there's always tornadoes, but if you are looking for the less tornado-y areas, reach on out. I would love to let you know where the less likely to get hit by a tornado. We love in Missouri tailgating and attending bonfires. For some reason, and again, it's another outdoor activity. For some reason, people love the social aspect of that, especially if you go to a Kansas City Chiefs game up in Kansas City. Oh my gosh, tailgating for days before the game. I don't understand it. I never got into that. But bonfires, I love bonfires. I love sitting around a fire. Just something about looking at the fire, or a fire pit or whatever, just gets people talking. And that's what it's all about, is that community of people that love the outdoors. Now, out here in Missouri, we love our trucks. I hosted a foreign exchange student in 2021, and it was funny because she's from Italy, and whenever she came, I had this, at the time, a Toyota Tundra that was lifted 3 inches. So not like too bad, right? But for some reason, it was so funny watching her taking a run and jumping into the back of the truck because it was so high. But I guess not just, and I'm talking about Italy, but I guess in Italy there's tiny cars. They don't have trucks. They don't have full-size trucks. And especially like California as well, and the East and the West Coast, they have smaller cars. Brandon in our office is from California, and he was like, it's a little weird. There's trucks in California, but here in the Midwest, like Missouri, the trucks are so much bigger. People love jacking them up, putting big tires and wheels on them, going off-roading. That is one thing about Missouri, is we love our trucks. So here in Missouri, many cities are named after other places. I don't know if it's like when we developed Missouri, we just didn't know how to name things, but let me give you some examples. We have cities called Cuba, Colombia, Versailles, Macon, Mexico, Lebanon, Paris, Washington, Houston, Florida, California, and even Springfield. All of them are named after bigger places. Doesn't make any sense. We are not original here, it sounds like. Also, another thing is Missouri doesn't have casinos. Now, there are casinos around, and if there's a casino inside of Missouri, it has to be off of a river. So it has to be like a riverboat or something like that. So you have casinos in Kansas City and a casino in St. Louis. The biggest one near us is about an hour west of here, called Downstream Casino, right on the border of Kansas, Oklahoma, and Missouri. So as you're going into Downstream Casino and Resort, you're driving through Missouri, but then enter Kansas. The parking lot is in Kansas, and then you cross, as you're walking across into the casino, into Oklahoma. Craziest thing. One of the cons about living in Missouri is the wages are a little bit lower, but gas is always at least like $1 cheaper per gallon. There's amazing prices for real estate, like what you can buy in California for $800,000. I think it's like a 322, 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 2-car garage. $800,000 is literally an average of like $250,000 here, maybe lower. You can get a decent 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 2-car garage house for about $225 as we're making this video. Insane. But the average home is probably around $255, which is so much cheaper than most states. And also, property taxes is a lot cheaper as well. We average about 0.7, 0.8%. It can go up to 1% with a new build. So those numbers are in Springfield, but the average Missouri property taxes is about 1.01%. So really 1% on average for property taxes, so much cheaper than everywhere else. So Missouri was kind of cool as a non-disclosure state. So let me explain that a little bit. You do not have to disclose how much you paid for your house, meaning whenever you buy a house, the title company will put that you paid $10 for it. That way, the county doesn't know how much you paid for it. So as real estate prices go up, the county doesn't jack your property taxes up right away. They evaluate every 2 or 3 years and end up going up that way. But at least they don't know how much you actually paid for it. No one knows how much you paid for it if you don't want to disclose it. You don't have to disclose it. Now, whenever I close out a listing, I have the right by a property owner's permission to not disclose it to realtors as well. So I can literally keep it hidden from everybody if you don't want to disclose how much you paid for it. Now let me tell you about the fashion trends here in Missouri. For some reason we don't have them. All you need here in Missouri is boots, jeans, and a flannel or a polo. That's all you need. Unless you're a girl, then I don't know what's in fashion there. Yeah, cardigans seem to be in. I don't even know how I know the name cardigan, but
cardigan?
Yeah, see, I don't even know what I'm saying. So here in Springfield, Missouri, we don't have very many high-end hotels or high-end restaurants. We have one 4-star hotel here in Springfield called Hotel Vandervoort. Shout out Hotel V. And we have a little bit of high-end restaurants, but not very many. So we have Flame, maybe Char, but that's really about it. But nothing like you have to wear like a sports coat over, to get in. That's really, unless you go to Kansas City or St. Louis, we don't have like high-end stuff in all of Missouri. But don't underestimate how good the food is here in Missouri. Seriously, let's talk about Kansas City alone. Kansas City is the headquarters of barbecue. And if you want to argue with me, it's not going to be that big of an argue because I'm pretty sure that Kansas City is the headquarters of barbecue. It's really big there. I mean, competitions and tons of barbecue places. And I mean, there's just tons of barbecue. Like, it is the thing to do in Kansas City is eat barbecue. There is also a lot of amazing random places here in Missouri that are great food places, like Lambert's. Let's talk about that. Lambert's, the home of the throwing rolls. Like, it is amazing food there. And I don't know if I want to admit, but I love cheese. I'm like a big cheese person. And as you're going from Springfield to Kansas City, right off the highway, there's called Osceola cheese. And for some reason, I always stop there and they get me. I end up buying like 3 to 5 different types of cheeses. And the sharper the cheddar, the better. I like the 20-year sharp cheddar. What I'm saying is there's just tons of random places that whenever you're just driving down, you're like, oh, we have to go there. It's like a gold mine, You just pull off the side of the road, eat, and you're back on. And it's like a yearly tradition. And there's just all these great places that for some reason Missouri has. Completely random. We in Missouri are home of the Budweiser. Now, you know how many jokes I got growing up saying, how come your name isn't Bud since your last name's Weiser? Well, let me tell you why. It's not spelled the same. I'm just kidding. But Budweiser, if you don't know what that is, it is an alcoholic beverage. I'm pretty sure you know what it is. But we are home in St. Louis, Missouri of the Clydesdales and Budweiser. How awesome is that? And if you go and take the tour, they'll actually give you a free Bud. I don't know if it's Bud Light or whatever, but they do give you free beer at the end of the tour. It's kind of cool. So we have some incredible teams here and fans in Missouri, like the Kansas City Chiefs. Woo! How many times have we run in the Super Bowl lately? Just throwing that out there. We have the St. Louis Cardinals, we have the Kansas City Royals, and we have the Blues. If you don't know who the Blues are, they're the hockey team of St. Louis. For some reason, the sports and the fans here, everyone loves sports. For some reason, I don't get into sports, but that's just me. Also here in Missouri, we have a slower lifestyle here. Let me tell you more. You're driving down the road in the back streets, and you pull up to a tractor going 35 miles an hour, speed limit's 55, what are you gonna do? Well, you don't do anything, you follow the tractor because we're just going really slow, you know? But if you were in Kansas City or in St. Louis, people would be passing that tractor. Which leads into the people here in Missouri are different. And let me explain that a little bit more. We're different because we're a little bit slower pace, a little bit more genuine, and just people love people around here. If you're part of the right communities, of course, there are still selfish people. But let me tell you a story that Brad Pitt said. Brad Pitt is from Springfield, Missouri. If you didn't know that, how cool is that? But he did an interview out in Hollywood, and somebody asked, where are you from? And they got on the conversation of, oh, I'm from Springfield, Missouri. He was talking about the women in Missouri. And he said, the women in Missouri are just a lot more beautiful. And he explained it as they're not just beautiful on the outside, but what he was referring to is they're beautiful on the inside as well. And that was an awesome testimony to Missouri residents, is we are slower paced, we're a little bit different, but we're also beautiful on the inside, and we love people so much. So if we missed anything else about Missouri, I would love to hear it down in the comments below. We literally read all of your comments. We respond to most of your comments. See you guys in the next video. We have tons of videos coming up. See you guys over here. Just click, click, boop, 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 boop. Anyways, wait, watch for deer. See you guys.